lighter note, the summer. Transfers, links, all those types of things. Big decision, I'm just calling it. It's all right to be excited. Of course it is. There seems to have been this thing that people are saying, oh, you're not enjoying it properly if you're excited over transfers. I go to the games, and that, doesn't mean people who don't go to the games are less excited or anything like that. But I'm buzzing all the time. Last Sunday, just gone, was the best day ever in my Liverpool life, as it was for many other Reds. It was such a unique experience. We're excited about the Guard of Honour Arsenal are going to give us and these other games. Of course we are. We're looking forward. We've planned that party after the Palace game. It's going to be absolutely rotten. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't be excited about transfers or starting to wonder who's coming in, what might be happening. Of course you should. You're totally entitled to that. You're entitled to think, now we've won number 20, how do we go about getting number 21? Nothing wrong with that at all. And if you look at the names that are drifting in, it's almost trying to keep on top of them a little bit. And listen, names come from everywhere, don't they? Someone who does your missus's nails, or, sort of you a vajazzle the other day, knows someone's brother's cousin who's a scout in an office and all that type of thing. Names come from everywhere. So you're starting to look at who's reliable, who do you face into, who do you want to manifest a little bit as well. But just some big things that have come up in the last sort of few days. David Ornstein was on NBC, wasn't it? Sports, and did a full breakdown of Liverpool, talking about the Trent situation. But what he also did was named a few players. So this is, people, have a lot of respect, quite rightly, for David Ornstein. So he mentioned Kirkes and said he seems the leader, the front runner for that left-back spot, but it's not certain. Keep an eye on other names as well. He also mentioned, as per you've seen on this screen, Jeremie Frimpong, Bayer Leverkusen, Holland, right wing back, I think it's fair to say, in their system under Xavi, would be keen on a move to Liverpool if they decide to go down that route. And he has a 35 million euro release clause. Would count as homegrown, wouldn't he? Because of the time at City, working their way through that academy. But this one, people have really jumped into this one. He'd be keen on a move to Liverpool if they decide to go down that route. Of course he freaking would. We're going from Leverkusen to the champions of England. That's no disrespect to Leverkusen, but there's levels to it. Of course he'd be keen. Also, he knows all the Dutch boys in the squad, doesn't he? Van Dijk, Grav, Cody Gakpo. He pals with them all. You've seen that, all the clips which people jumped into. He'd be keen. Of course he would. Should we be as keen, though? I mean, attacking metrics for a fullback, different system, get that all out your system, assists, blah, blah, all that out right now. But look at them defensive metrics for a fullback. Not in the 6th best in the world, in the 6th percentile against other fullbacks for tackling, in the 3rd for interception. His highest defensive metric is blocks at 37th percentile. And when you look who he's compared to, there's some top fullbacks in there as well. Just to be clear, defending isn't the name of his game by any means. I'm sure for those who've seen Leverkusen a few times, you'll know that. But for all the people getting excited around this one, imagine Kirkes and Frimpong at fullback. Van Dijk, and if it's still Konate, would need them inhalers, the mad ones that Pep was, panning around just to survive. So keep that in mind, first of all, when you hear that name. Second name, I genuinely never thought I'd say this at all. Shout out to Steele, who revealed this on TikTok. I thought that was that mad one where people just did the stupid dance, or my missus goes for lemon drizzle cake recipes apparently now and again. But as per a briefing, what a time to be alive. Patch Journos on TikTok, but said Nico Williams, the Bilbao and Spanish international winger, is one to keep an eye on for Liverpool. People got excited by this one as well, didn't they? And I get it. Would have seen him in the Euros, one of the key parts of Spain winning. pacey. We've seen him in the Europa quite a bit. Well followed and linked. And I get all that. I do understand all that. I understand people who get excited by a fast winger who's in the 98th percentile for successful take-ons, the 94th percentile for progressive carries. He's electric, isn't he? Even in shot-creating actions, he is in the 89th percentile as well. So I get all that. Fast attacking wingers who take on players will always be exciting. Of course they will. And people will look at things like his age, 22, all that adds into the mix. And it's a respectable patch. Journeyman Lewis Steele, also mention him. So, you know, all that goes as ingredients. However, he scored 10 goals. Have a look at his overall career goals. That doesn't ultimately define him, don't get me wrong. But if you're thinking he's going to be one of the ones that could replace Luis Diaz, as a lot of people are steering into, just think about that. Do you know what? If you like him or he's the one you like or want to come in for Diaz, power to you. It's right to be excited, but it's right to just be balanced a little bit on this. Yeah, especially when you're talking about players that are young. And the other things just to keep in mind on Nico Williams, massive wages at Bilbao. Don't doubt that for 1 second. And there's a lot of talk that he's always wanted to stay in Spain, isn't there? That, you know, a family boy, his brother plays for the club, you know, initially was linked with Barcelona and that's where he wanted to go last summer. So would he be that keen to move out of England? Out of Spain, even to England for massive wages that it would take for a guy whose goal record, you check it yourself if you don't believe me, maybe has a few question marks. Doesn't mean you can't be excited though. But yeah, another name in the mix. Another name that came up in the last sort of 48 hours that got traction. James Pearce mentioned it, that Stuttgart midfielder Angelo Stiller, German international, left-footed. This was a player Liverpool looked at after Zubimendi fell through. So he's already been on the radar. And as a lot of people have mentioned, the local Stuttgart newspaper, I'm not even going to try and pronounce that because I'll mess it up, but a reliable source, according to many, has said that Stuttgart won at least 60 million euros. So around 50 million quid-ish for them to consider a sale. It's all right to be excited about this one. It's all right to be excited about a player that's in the 98th percentile for progressive passes. It's all right to be excited about a player who's in the 97th percentile for passes attempted. And even his attacking one, expected assisted goals, shot creating actions there. Look at that, nearly 4 a game, 91st percentile. Of course, it's all right to be excited about players like that. If you watch him, very, very good on the ball. An eye sees a pass, and with Trent leaving, it's natural to think, well, there's our most creative player, 0.3 XT, as the nerds will reference, the best in the Premier League. Look at Stillers if you want to check on that. Deep line playmaker, get it. Off the ball, though. Okay. 52nd percentile for clearances is best compared to other midfielders. You got blocks at 40, but more interceptions, you think, for our double pivot, 35th percentile. There's question marks there. And a lot of people who you talk to around German football will say it's off the ball where his concerns come in. Not the quickest by any means. You can see the metrics on the Bundesliga page. If you want to look at his top speed, might want to look at his top speed. So all this goes into the mix, again, for a player like that. Doesn't mean you can't be excited. Doesn't mean it might not be your choice, or it might be your choice on that. We've got an update on him on the transfer show, but you horny buggers can wait till Thursday for that, in all honesty. And then the other one that's really come up recently, reports across Germany. Lewis Steele, to be fair, mentioned it, didn't he, that Liverpool had scouts at the Red Bull Bayern game, watching Xavi Simons and Benjamin Sesko. But it's more Sesko that's now come up in the news. Philip Heinze and a few other sources in Germany saying the release clause for this player now exceeds 80 million. But it could also move without the clause. The fee could be negotiable depending on the payment structure. i.e., it could be the add-ons, maybe we're getting a bit more than the clause, but favourable, paying it over the 5 years, could be interesting for clubs. But screw other clubs, we're talking about Liverpool, aren't we? And people are really mixed on this one. Maybe we've got Darwin Núñez PTSD, who knows? But you saw the game at the weekend, or if you didn't, he scores an outrageous one, doesn't he, with the keeper out, and people will look at that and got excited by that one. I ain't hot on Sesko. If you are, I get why you'd be excited. You'd be saying, look at the frame of nearly 2 meters tall. Look at what he's doing at 21 years old, and he's got a decent goals record. 17 goals, 5 assists across the Premier League and the Champions League. Yeah, he's got a few more German Cups, so 20 plus a season. So that goes into the mix. Rapid. Absolutely rapid. You can see his metrics there for the Bundesliga. People will also say, look at successful take-ons, 80th percentile, non-penalty goals are the name of the game, 74th percentile, great in the air, 71st percentile as well, could help from all that. I get it. But he's raw. Doesn't pass it too much. Doesn't complete pass completion in the 26th percentile. Arne Slot also said he's looking for a facilitator. Those are Arne Slot's words. He ain't that. Doesn't mean he's a bad player. But Sesko at a package for 90 million euros. If you're excited by it, power to you. This is not for a second saying all these players are crap and we shouldn't sign any of them. It's just looking a bit deeper, isn't it? And it's right to be excited at the moment, but we should be looking and thinking hard. Are these the right players for Liverpool? We want to deliver 21 next season. That's the big thing to consider. So all that goes into the mix as well. The final thing I'll say on transfers is it's late at night now. Steady on a little bit. Because later this evening, there'll be some bigger news dropping. Okay? Just keep an eye on the names, plural, and the stories that drop later. That's all I'm really going to say on that. For those of you that have watched, listen, the chat panel's been buzzing. I'm sorry to try and get everything in. I know I've not been able to show that as much as I usually can. So mea culpa for that. But it was about getting these things in. For transfers and excitement, lean into it. Have fun. It ain't that deep right now. What is deep is who comes and are we close to 21? The Trent thing, you're all entitled to your opinion. Don't let anyone tell you any different. Okay? And contracts, yes, there's some big ones sorted, but there's some big ones to sort as well still. Let's not take our eye off the ball on that. Let's hope some of those get resolved quickly and effectively. We will see what that brings. We'll see what this week brings because something's breaking every day at the moment, isn't it? But on Tuesday, the 6th of May, that was another big decisions for Anfield Index.